next guest. This is one of my favorite Twitter accounts that
This
I've
really
just
pops.
discovered this year. Well, I'd seen their tweets before. We have Jordan from the Sickos committee. What is up? Like, I love y'all's account because you guys tweet all the things that are in my brain when I'm just like, that is some shit right there. Can someone tweet that? And you guys tweet it. How's it going?
I'm doing good. It's been a crazy bit of a week with all the ice in Dallas. So I'm out and about finally and getting to see human beings again. So I'm super excited.
Awesome. So tell us about the Sickos committee. How did this come together? Who's in the committee? And like, just give us the entire backstory because I've wanted to hear this, and like, that's why I had brought you on because I just love this account.
Sure. We started. This was a pandemic project, like sourdough, like everything else. This was a pandemic project. We're all the people who started this. We're all fans of the Shutdown Fullcast and that podcast. And when they all got fired from Vox and SB Nation, they started up a Discord. And we all joined the Discord. And we realized that we were all watching the same kinds of games. We caught a game, it was UTEP New Mexico State, and it was only available on a local El Paso broadcast. So we were getting local commercials too. And it was a really good game. We got into it. And we started realizing that there was fun in this. And the commissioner, who is our grand leader, he's currently with a new child, so he's out of pocket.
Yeah.
But he is a ULM fan.
Okay.
That's a cursed existence. I went to Dartmouth for undergrad. That's a cursed existence.
Okay.
So we all appreciate football that's a little, we say, unconventionally attractive.
Yes. There you go. Unconventionally attractive. I like that. What is the most obscure like game that you guys found and that got really into? Like that holds a special place in the Sickos committee heart for like what's the greatest Sickos committee game of all time?
Well, this past year we had a really good one. The Northeast Conference is a football conference in FCS, and there were two teams who had been pretty bad: LIU, Long Island University, and Wagner, which is on Staten Island. And Wagner hadn't won a game in 2-3 years. LIU had won one game last season. It was against Wagner. And this game was on ESPN Plus, and we went really hard into it. We live tweeted it. It was great. We were, getting we had Wagner fans in the mentions. It was great. And it turned out to be a great game. Wagner won. They Gatorade dumped the coach, carried him off the field. It was great. And that's what we love to celebrate. That's everyone has fans, and we want to celebrate with them.
Yeah, that like when I go through and I look for like tiny stadiums out in the middle of nowhere, like I always just kind of imagine like this rabid group of 100 fans that just go out and they're either parents or girlfriends or frat bros or whatever, and they're just going out and just enjoying college football for what it is, because like to get to that level, just to play one game of college football it's an accomplishment for sure.
We realized that a lot of our followers are actually band kids too, because who watches more bad college football than band kids? And I'm a band kid. And so all these band kids are like, oh yeah, I suffered through these years. I watched a team go 1-11, but I was there for every game. And they're here to celebrate too.
Quick question. Iowa versus South Dakota State. What was your feeling during that wonderful game this past year?
I have never been so in awe of 7 points. We called it the Iowa touchdown, a field goal and 2 safeties. Beautiful. It was magic. And then for South Dakota State to go on and win the FCS national title. It was a beautiful symmetry to the season. I couldn't believe it.
One game that sticks out in my memory as an all-timer. What was that? It was like Buffalo versus one of the Michigans or something, and it went into overtime. It was back when the overtime rules were still like touchdown, and the final score ended up being like 80 something to.
Yeah, one of those.
What was that game?
I can't remember it right now.
It
Yeah,
was
that
Buffalo versus like Eastern Michigan, and it just went
like
absolutely insane. Like, imagine being a fan there, and you're like, "We're headed into the 8th overtime," and each it was Western Michigan. That's right, JJ
there we go.
Stover,
Buffalo.
and Buffalo and UB, and they just I gotta look that up now, but
it was so good.
That to me was amazing. All right, so who else is on? Oh, go ahead.
It's always good when you have games that make them change the rules. It was the A&M LSU game that went so long a couple years ago, where they finally went, okay, we can no longer do extra time this way. This no longer works. We can't go into 7 overtimes having to score touchdowns. So now they do, the 2-point conversion, penalty kicks, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Is this 71-68 in
Beautiful.
overtime?
God. Beautiful.
I thought this was a basketball score.
Yeah.
The 7 OT marathon. This was 2017, and it was amazing. 71-68 was the final. Boy, if you took the over in that game, hell yeah.
Dude. Penn State, Illinois, Barry. Oh yeah. That was a legendary game.
Is there a specific play that you love to see in bad college football? Is there something that, really tugs at your heartstrings? Like, what's the favorite of the Sickos committee when you see something happen out there?
When the triple option is run well, it is beautiful. When the triple option, when someone decides that they're going to stop it and it doesn't work, it's also beautiful, because when it doesn't work, oh man, it doesn't work, and it's just brutal to watch. It has some beauty to that. We also love to see a good crossing routes, anything over the middle, mesh routes. God, those are great because they're just so annoying to cover. And you get those 7-8 yards, and you can see the defense get angrier and angrier as
there's no way to there's no way to cover it. You could put 4 guys 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. Like, you're not going to run a 4 across zone just to take away a cross. Like, what kind of idiot?
Right.
Defend, like, because you're going to get beat deep, so they just give up the cross and just hope that either he drops it. I'm actually a huge fan of the short punt. Like, I love seeing a punt that goes maybe 2 yards, like, for whatever reason. That's my shit right there.
I went to what was the really cursed? I went to the Armed Forces Bowl this year in Fort Worth, and that was the game that was 5 degrees and wind chill. We had pictures of the Baylor band. We had some Baylor band followers sending us pictures of spit frozen on their clarinets. They were having to unice trombones. It was great.
Oh, man.
And I was in the press box, thank God, sitting next to Big Game Boomer and a couple other people. And that game's punting, because the wind was coming in off the top of one of the sides of TCU Stadium, just howling. And Baylor kept trying to punt into it, and the punts were going 1 yard, 2 yards. And
did you see any punts go backwards?
It came so close, and I was just looking at it going like, guys, I know it's 4th and 10 from your own 20, but this is not the answer. Whatever you're doing now is incorrect.
Right. Just go for it. Yeah,
just arm punt it. Do the Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Now, have you guys been able to monetize the committee at all, or are you guys being looked at as like a actual, like, serious journalistic outlet? Like, what's the deal in terms of Sickos committee as a business?
We're working on that. We've got an LLC set up. We are working right now. Our logo that we use, of course, because we made this as a joke for 10 people, we used a comic logo that we don't own. So we're working on that. We're talking to the artist. He owns it, Ward Sutton, who writes for The Onion. And we're working on that with him. And then once that goes, I don't know what's going to go on. We've already gotten press passes to things, which is hilarious to me. Especially because just going as press and having Sickos committee on my press pass, especially this year, this year. Last year I went to 1 bowl game, and this year I went to about 3 or 4, plus the FCS championship game. I live in Dallas, so a lot of them are local.
Yeah.
And the best part was it's becoming sort of like Fight Club, because I show up and they see my name and they go, "Hey, I like what you guys do. Thank you. Hey, I follow you guys. Thank you." Like, oh my God, people know people know what we do. This is scary.
Yeah, it is. And it is crazy. Like, do you ever feel like when you're in the press box, like you don't belong, but you're just there, so you're going to go with it?
Yeah, I'm a fan. Like, we're not journalists, we're fans, like, first and foremost. And that's the fun part about all this. And when I get in the press box, I definitely don't have that demure, oh yes, grumble, grumble. I want to stand up and holler. I prefer to be in the stands when it's not 8 degrees out. TCU's hospitality when it was 8 degrees out was wonderful. Don't get me wrong, but I would rather be in the stands with people going crazy because that's the fun stuff.
That is the fun stuff. Yeah, and the media is very like in those rooms. It's pretty sterile. You know, you're just like, oh, this is. You see the business part of sports, and you're just like, oh, okay, it's still exciting, but it's different. It's a different energy up in there.
Well, and then trying to explain to someone what we do. Because it's hard enough to explain to my wife what I do. It's hard enough to explain to my in-laws this Christmas. Oh, what is your hobby? Well, let's see how I can. It's hard to describe to them. It's even harder to describe to anyone who's doing legacy media. Like, come on, we're goofballs.
Yeah. Who is someone that took you aback that they knew who you were? Like, is there ever either an online interaction or in person? Like, who's someone that you were like, oh wow, you follow us? Like, has there ever been a starstruck moment for you?
I mean, the bear from ESPN, now on Fox. The Bears shouted us out a couple times on College Game Day, and he follows us. And the first time we got shouted out on College Game Day, I about lost my mind because that was just
crazy.
Right? We're just a bunch of goofballs who use open source software to make stupid images, and we're getting shouted out. This is great.
Yeah,
I did want to ask, like, how did you guys get into beveling a bunch of images? Because that's fascinating to me. You see, like, all the weird, like, sort of logos.
Oh yeah,
yeah, the ultra bevel.
Yes,
I started it because I know that Texas A&M fans had such a chip on their shoulder when their logo got beveled, because the old A&M logo was a flat logo, and then they added the little like white highlights, and it looks kind of dumb. And so I was like, I wonder what happens if I bevel that logo again. And then we started doing it for teams that won games or won a bowl game, and then it just became a thing. Much like all good things on the internet, it started as a joke until it wasn't.
Yeah, that's all. I love it. Like, I love.
What was your favorite?
I love it when it's. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, what was your favorite logo to bevel?
Oh man, beveling the A&M logo originally was one of my favorites, just because it's got so many weird angles to it. The more weird angles they have, the better off they tend to be. Of all the ones, honestly, there's one of my favorite high school mascots in Texas, Hutto, Texas, the Hutto Hippos. And their mascot logo is a hippo superimposed in the state of Texas. And it looks like fire.
Because there's a ton of hippos. And
so apparently a hippo got loose from a circus train in town. And now they have all these statues all over town. In fact, they're opening a second high school, and they're calling them the Hippos too, because everyone wants to be a hippo.
Hippo sequel. That is fun. I thought the Horn Frog, when you beveled the TCU Horn Frog, was instant classic. All right, last question before we get your Super Bowl prediction. The Duke's Mayo Bowl. Are you gonna go to the Duke's Mayo Bowl at some point, and are you gonna take a mayo bath? I gotta know.
We got to go this year. Like, we just have to. We've been putting that off. We need to. We're gonna go to the Duke's Mayo Bowl, hopefully, and absolutely, I'll eat mayo in the stands. I hear it's great for your hair. I hear it's great for your skin. So sure, why not?
Help me. Yep. All right, let's get your Super Bowl prediction, Jordan. Official Sickos Committee Super Bowl prediction.
So I heard last time, if I say the Eagles, I'm gonna get in trouble, right?
No, you can. Smalls and I are Giants fans, so.
Like, okay. Well, theoretically, I'm Cowboys adjacent, so I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say Eagles 35, Chiefs 24.
All right, 35-24. Well, Jordan, this was so much fun. Definitely. You got to come back sometime, like when the season's going, and just talk about the committee and what's going on. Is there anything you want to shout out or share before we bring on our next guest?
Shout out our Twitter account, which is where we're always at Sickos Committee. We've got a podcast where we talk about random stuff. Yesterday, the one we released today, we talked about the 1985 California Bowl and Fresno beating up Bowling Green by 40 whatever points, and the punter being the MVP. We have lots of fun stuff like that.
Awesome. Hold on, I gotta do one thing real quick. I found someone sent this in the chat. Well, I gotta upload it. Boom. There you go.
Is. Yep.
There it is, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Hutto Hippos.
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you, Jordan, for stopping by. Appreciate it. Appreciate you jumping on the opportunity to join the show. And you have a great off season. We'll see you next year. And you also do like soccer and Basketball as well, right?
We have a basketball account. We do soccer. I love korfball, which is this weird Dutch sport. If you see me post about korfball, I'm all in on that. We do all sorts of weird stuff. So we're always around.
That's awesome. Thanks, Jordan.
Thanks, guys.
Peace out.
Take it easy.